Welcome to another advanced lesson. And Happy New Year! If you're in the part of the world where it's already 2024, I got a lot of messages from my Korean friends this morning saying, Happy New Year! Happy New Year, Billy! I'm like, wait, today is... Oh yeah, that's right. And I forgot for like a second while I was waking up that it's already 2024 in Korea and a lot of other places. But if you're still in the US, we still have New Year's Eve to celebrate tonight. If you do that, welcome. Who's in the chat right now? Lynn. Hey, Lynn. Yeah, long time no see. Definitely. Welcome. Good to have you here. Zandria says, wow, I'm early. The bad news is I'm making chocolate while I watch. Hope I don't miss too much. Making chocolate. Why is that bad news? Oh, who saw the movie Wonka? That made me want chocolate. Fortunately, I brought some chocolate to the movie, so I was okay. But if I didn't, I would be like really craving chocolate once that movie was over. It's actually better, more fun than I expected it to be. Aneki, 안녕하세요, welcome. Yes. Aneki says, when this class starts, it's going to be 2024 in Romania. Is it right now? Hold on, what time is it? You're right, Romania, it is 11:37 p.m. All right, right over there, okay. Happy New Year. So I'll have to try to remember that right at the top of the hour. Sandra says, about a couple hours, it won't be bad news at all. Okay. I've never tried making chocolate before. I would guess from all of the Hershey's that I've eaten as a child, I would guess that the recipe is something like you take cocoa beans and you add like 1 part cocoa beans and 1 part wax and 10 parts sugar. Does that sound about right? No, actually don't eat Hershey's. The only time I will eat it though, I'm talking about American Hershey's. For all of you in Europe who are not aware, I'm sure you're aware, but if you're not aware, American Hershey's is like bottom of the barrel quality, but it's good in Europe, I hear. Yeah, I usually don't eat it unless I'm making s'mores, in which case it is acceptable for its light, it's really like thin design. It's just perfect for breaking into pieces for making s'mores. But other than that, I try to avoid it. Yes, Happy New Year. Lots of people are already in the new year. That's great. We will start right at the top of the hour. So all of you are early in case you're wondering what's going on. I know every time we get new people coming in the chat. So I'll let you know, we always start at the very top of the hour, but I turn on the live stream about 20 minutes early just to make sure everything's working properly, because I have had some issues with the stream in the beginning in the past. So now I always start at like 20 minutes or so early. So you're all early. Now you can feel free to ask any questions if you have before we start. Right at the top of the hour, we'll start the actual lesson for today, which is going to be a advanced level lesson. And we'll talk about how that works and everything. Although it's an advanced level topic, even if you're not advanced, I still think you'll get something out of this lesson. I always try to do my best to simplify every topic that I teach and talk about where it came from, like what it means literally. So that way, even if you're not ready to use it, you can still understand it and be ready for when it comes up later, or at least you'll have some good notes for when you get to that level. So yeah, you'll still be okay even if you're a beginner, even though you won't get as much out of it if you're ready for this topic like intermediate or advanced learners. Let's see, what else do we need to talk about? Oh yes. I'm going to post a link. See if it works here. I have an active Discord channel. You can post your New Year's resolutions there if you're making any. This is 새해 다짐 means new, literally New Year resolution, New Year's like decisions, New Year's resolve. something that you're going to be doing in the new year. So if you make any New Year's resolutions, let me know. You can also post it into my Discord channel. There is a channel in my Discord called Accountability. So if you want some help to be accountable, you can post there and then everyone can see your goals and you can update them. You can find mine in there too, although I didn't post many updates between like September and the end of the year, but I still update the goal as well. So you can see what I'm doing for my Korean studies as well as everyone else. Again, it's completely free. It's open. There's a link in the chat. You'll also find a link in the channel and in the channel description, as well as I think in the video description. It's everywhere. But yeah, go ahead and join that if you're not already. CHRO says, in my Avid class, what is Avid? I only know the video editor Avid. I'm sure you're not learning Avid in middle school. But anyway, okay. My long-term goal at the end of the school is to be fluent or halfway fluent in Korean. Depending on where you're at, that may or may not be a realistic goal. If you are already conversational in Korean, then going from conversational to fluent within a year with an immense amount of, immersion content as well as lots of practicing is possible. Going from nothing to fluent in a year is downright impossible, but it depends again where you're at. Or unless you change your definition of fluent, then yeah, one day to fluency. If you change your definition, it can be as short or as long as you'd like. Learn with K-pop says, my Sei Tajim is to take Korean more seriously. Don't take it too seriously though. Remember, you're learning Korean probably not because you have to. The overwhelming majority of people learning Korean are doing it for a hobby, because they are interested in it, because they like it for some reason. So make sure you don't take it too seriously. Have some fun with it. I got my caffeine drink today. It is Tropical Punch, but it's yellow. I don't know. It's kind of like a gross yellow, but it tastes pretty good. Oh, that is sour. They're always sour. What's up with the companies that make these like drink powders with caffeine, like adding like the Walter White meme? They're just like adding a pound of like caffeine. No, sorry. They're adding like a pound of like citric acid and then like 1 ounce of caffeine or something. Like why are they all sour? Is there a reason for that? Funky Frog says we have a matching water bottle. Really? This is, I don't remember. My wife got this. She never uses it, but it was a Starbucks cup. But I kind of like it just because it's simple. Like it's just a cup with a lid, but that's kind of all I need. So I use it. But yeah, it doesn't keep things hot. It doesn't keep things cold. It's just a cup that's branded with Starbucks. I don't even drink Starbucks. The only time we go to Starbucks is when it's my wife's birthday and she has the free birthday drink in the app. Like that's it. I think we go once a year, maybe twice a year if she has like a special coupon, like buy one, get one free or something like that. But yeah, I don't really go there, but you're more than welcome to sponsor me, Starbucks, if you're interested. I've never had any coffee in my life and I rarely drink caffeine. So who is that? Oh, hey, Aniki. What is R-O-N? Thank you, Aniki. Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Of course. It would be Romanian. Duh. Aniki, thank you. Aniki. The Google said it's like $2 to $3-ish. I'm not sure. So I'll put two-ish there, and I'll give you 2-ish dabs. There's a bit of an exchange rate between the Romanian dabs and the American dabs. So you lose a little bit in the conversion, but I'll still give you a good rate. So let's see, with 2-ish, it's going to be like, and then, thank you, Aniki. And I almost forgot. What did we say? Oh yeah, Happy New Year. Which will be in 15 minutes. CHRO says, have you not done a video, or have you ever done a video on online Korean slang? Yeah, I've done a video about texting slang. I've done lots of videos where I talk about concepts, where I teach slang in them. So you can find slang kind of peppered around all of my videos, I would say. I don't keep it out of my lessons when it's necessary. So there's a lot of useful slang out there. What you probably won't find on my channel usually are niche slang words. So slang words that exist, but the majority of people won't know what they are. So if you used it, it would sound like you're being either really cringy or you're just using incomprehensible Korean. So that type of stuff I might not teach, like a specific slang that's associated with a game online, for example, and only people who play that game would know it. But if you don't play that game, it would sound a bit awkward. I actually made a whole video about this. In my Glass with Billy series, there's a video I made. I think I uploaded it early this year, and I filmed it with a friend, Forrest, and we did I did a video about Korean slang, specifically your question, actually. So like when it's okay to use slang, when you should avoid slang, but you know, how you can go about learning it, stuff like that. Oh, Raven Landek, the difference between 채소 and 야채. Yatte is the older word for vegetables. You'll still find it. In fact, that was the word that when I was learning Korean first, so this was when I was your age, you know, back when I was first learning Korean, 18, almost 19 years ago. Yeah. This was the most taught word for vegetable was yatte. 채소 was an alternate version, but nowadays it's switched. 채소 is the more commonly used one for vegetables, and yatte is like more of a, it's just less common, but they're both used. These days, though, I think you're going to hear 채소 a lot more often. Hannah asks an interesting question. I have a question. Are 화이팅 and 파이팅 used in different contexts? Yes and no. In fact, I might need a good 5 minutes to talk about that one. That's a can of worms. You want to open that. So you might need to remind me a little bit later, Hannah, so that I can properly talk about that one. But yeah, it's not, they are the same and they're very different. Let's see. Do I need any more announcements? Okay. Yes. Again, this is the word I wrote up here. If you just came in, this is the word for New Year's resolution. So if you want to make a New Year's resolution, you can, of course, use the word 세우다, like to establish, to set up that's what they would say, to make a New Year's resolution. If you have made a New Year's resolution, I'll give you some advice. Start it immediately, preferably start it before the New Year's if you still have time. And pace yourself. Don't try to do too much, because it's easy to set a goal like next year I'm going to do 3 hours a day and then not really realize that you don't have 3 hours a day as soon as your winter vacation is over. So set something more realistic. That way you have a lower chance of failing. And in fact, I heard this from a different person. I can't remember who. Maybe it was a different YouTuber, but they mentioned another suggestion is instead of setting specific goals for like, just I want to study, 1 hour a day or something like that, but trying to set like a theme for a goal. So your New Year's resolution is a theme. So it's not just my goal is to study Korean 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day, whatever like that, because that can get disrupted and that can cause you to be discouraged if you can't keep your resolution, right? You mess it up for a week because you got sick. Well, then you decide, whatever, I'm not going to do it. I can't keep my goal. Or finishing, 10 chapters a month. I can't do it anymore. So instead of that, you have a theme, which is your theme would be studying Korean. Maybe you're trying to focus on grammar. So my theme is Korean grammar. And then you set goals that you can adapt each month or each week or however often you need to, which are all related to your theme. That way you still keep your goal, which is the theme of focusing on grammar, but you can adapt how you do it throughout the year. So I thought that was a pretty good suggestion. I've never tried that before myself personally. I always just think it's okay if you're going to set a specific goal as long as you make it a realistic one. So don't set like I said, don't do like 3-4 hours a day of Korean, or I'm going to be fluent by the end of the year. Don't set vague goals like that. Set something that's more concrete that you know you can do. So you know you have 30 minutes a day no matter what, even when you get sick, even when you're tired, even when you're on vacation. You know you have 30 minutes a day. So set 30 minutes a day to study Korean. And then some days you can do 2 hours if you have it, or 3 hours. But then as long as you just do that 30-minute block, you've still kept your resolution. So I would suggest just something small. Let's see. Everyone, let me know if it's already... Actually, I guess if you tell me where you're watching from, let me know where you're watching from and if it's already the new year yet. So I'm in California right now, so it is not 2024 yet, but it will be tonight. We have a few people watching from Europe. So Romania, for example, is already going to be the new year in like 9 minutes. If you're in other parts of Europe, it's probably already the new year. In Korea, it's already the new year. Let me know where you're watching from right now and if it's already the 2024, the new year, or if it's still 2023, if you're living in the past or the future. Keith Brand says, I'm going to Korea in 4 months. I know the alphabet. Would you recommend focus on common phrases? With 4 months is too short to become conversational, realistically. I would just focus on phrases and spend some time planning your trip, unless you're going for a very long time. If I'm guessing you're just going for a short trip, like a week or maybe 2 weeks, spend some of that time just planning your trip, things you want to do. Don't worry too much about the Korean because it's not enough time to really make a big enough difference that you're going to go from not speaking any Korean to, talking and interacting with people. It's too short for that. If you had said maybe 8 months, I would say, okay, but 4 months is really short. So learn some phrases. You can just start learning Korean normal and then kind of learn, I would focus more on what things I'm going to do when I get there. And maybe some phrases I could use when I get there. Not so much questions I can ask, but phrases I can say. Seattle. All right. So Seattle, you're same as here, I believe. So it's going to be tonight. Romania, it'll be 2024 in 9 minutes. Yes. Czech Republic, hour and 9 minutes. Germany, 1 hour left. The UK New Year's in 2 hours. Okay. Slovenia. It sounds like a fictional country. It still sounds fictional. Even though I looked it up and I know it's real, it still sounds like that country they made up for the Avengers. I can't remember what that country was, but it sounds like that. They saved Slovenia. United Arab Emirates, it's 2024. Okay. Wisconsin, US, 8 hours left. New Zealand, nice. I want to get to New Zealand someday. I have a friend who lives there, and I really want to see Hobbiton. Or is that how you say it? The Hobbit Village. Let's see. Brazil, 5 hours away from the New Year. Are we in California the last one to celebrate New Year? Is Hawaii... Hold on. Let me check Hawaii time. I think Hawaii... Yeah, Hawaii, it's not even noon on today, 31st. So Hawaii is earlier. I'm not sure if Hawaii is the earliest though, because it would just be wherever is along the international date line, and I don't remember which country or which state or where it is. But as far as US, Hawaii, or unless it's Alaska, could be part of Alaska. I don't know. Personally, I don't really care either. South Africa, 7 minutes. Oh, nice. Czech Republic, Maryland, it's almost dinner time. I was asking about the New Year, but you're like, it's about dinner time here. Sweden, 1 hour left. Lexica, California. Yes, my friend in Australia says 2024 is fine so far. That's good. We'll have to keep asking for updates. Maybe how stocks are performing so we can know what stocks to buy. We'll have to keep in touch. Happy New Year from India. It's already past 2 a.m. Nice. Slovenia is really like a fairy tale country. How so? I don't know anything about it. Is it really? Although in the Avengers, it gets destroyed and lifted off into space almost. Yeah, and then it gets thrown back in the ground and they save it. If you saw Age of Empire, not Age of Empires. Well, I was thinking Age of Empires. It's a really fun game. Age of Ultron, Age of Empires, Avengers, Age of Empires. Rogan. Shout out to a very great game, Age of Empires. I was thinking of oh yeah, so keep letting me know where you're from if there's anyone who hasn't said it already, or if you're from an interesting place, let me know as well. Oh, Miranda says I'm also from Slovenia. Okay, there are two of you. Interesting. I'm always curious, like, who and where are people learning Korean? Like, you know, what? It's like people from all across the world become interested in Korea and want to learn it. It's just unique. I always am curious why. Oh, yes. And YMA comments, 새해 복 많이 받으세요. You can actually use it multiple times in Korea. You can use it around the Lunar New Year. You can use it around the New Year's, like, you know, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So you can use it before and after the New Year, which is kind of interesting because we don't typically say Happy New Year until it's the New Year in English. But in Korean, you can do it like, hey, have a nice New Year. Because it doesn't really mean Happy New Year like it's past, like it is a Happy New Year, but it means I hope you have a Happy New Year. So it's applicable even before it's the New Year. Ich lieb, I can't read that. Germany, an hour till the New Year. I think ich lieb means I like, right? I can't say that, but I like my BQ. Is that some character name? BQ? I don't know. Hello, everyone from Hungary. I had a friend who was, when I was in high school, she was like a German, like majoring in German language. And that's like the only thing she taught me was like, I like, or I love. Okay, I love, thank you. I was like, it's a good meaning. That's all I can remember. Something good. 빌리, 푸른 영예의 해. Is that it? Is that it? Is it the Blue Dragon year? What would that be? Yeah, so every year not only has an animal associated with it, as most people know, but it also has a color of that animal, and they all have like different meanings, and you know, like, oh, this one's special for this, you know, whatever. But Blue Dragon seems kind of cool. Or I guess it could be like Green Dragon. Yeah, because Purada is kind of like both. It's like green skies, but it's also not green skies, blue skies, and like green mountains, like grass kind of. It's just that sort of nature, the color that nature creates. That's what the color is. Yes. All right, let's see how much time we got. Okay, we have, I'll start the lesson. We're almost at 2, so just 1 minute. For those of you who are in Romania, let's see, where's the countdown? It's 11:59, but I need a countdown. Is this accurate? Oh, I think it's 30 seconds left. 30 seconds left. If my computer clock is correct, there's 30 seconds left before it's New Year's in Romania. So I think we should do this with our Romanian friends. Okay, it's 15 seconds. We're going to do countdown for the New Year's in Romania. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Happy New Year! Let's see how to say Happy New Year in Romania. Okay, let's say what we're Romanians saying Happy New Year. They say Happy New Year. How do I say this? La multi ani un anu fericit. I'm sure you understand exactly what I said. Happy New Year. Wonderful. Now we can start the lesson. Thank you everyone for joining today. we have an advanced lesson today about a topic that you will not find anywhere else online. Believe me, I searched. Actually, that's not true. There was one place, actually, I don't want to like say bad things about it, but there was one place that I did find that had a not very good lesson. It didn't teach very much about it. So this might be the only place on the internet where you can find a lesson about this topic. We're going to be learning about a form, actually a few forms today, and they all involve tuksun. Now, tuksun has a bit of a written nuance to it. It doesn't feel like something that you're going to speak. So most of the time when you see tuk, or optionally tuksun, it's going to be a bit old-fashioned and it's going to be written. So you're not going to be hearing your friends say this very much. Now, the difference between these two is that tuksun sounds a bit stronger. It has more emphasis than tuk. So therefore, it's also going to be even a little bit less common. Tuk, though, you will find in writing. You're going to see this, definitely. Now, tuk comes from hanja. So it's a Chinese origin word, and it means paru. The meaning of tuk is paru. If you're already familiar with the many ways that paru can be used in Korean, this should solve a lot of your questions for how it works. Paru means right away or immediately. Well, I don't want to go too fast, so let me just check the chat for a second. Stay says, in France, there's one more hour to... Okay, then at 3 o'clock, we have to have another countdown for the French. Okay, so tuk or tuksun means paru, which is right away or immediately. But if you know how paru is normally used in Korean, that's not the only way that this gets used. Just like paru, tuk or tuksun can also be translated like this. Make sure I can still, okay. Make sure I'm not going off the board. In other words, I need to get rid of this marker. It's dying. Okay. Some common ways that you can translate this in your head to help are if we say whatever it comes after, or if we see, or if we hear whatever it comes after. By that I mean, if we're talking about this word, something, something tuk, if we're talking about something or something. In other words, these all kind of have the same meanings and tuk can work for all of them. So if you say, for example, seeing is believing, tuk, that means if we say that seeing is believing, and then you finish your sentence, or if we're talking about seeing is believing, or seeing is believing, tuk, in other words, that's how this functions. So there's actually a there's a shortened way that we can even remember this that I don't know if anyone's caught on to it, but there's a way you can even shorten this further, which I'll tell you in just a minute. But yeah, so this usage is also kind of the same as using the word paru, like I mentioned. Because paru, I said, means right away or immediately. But when you use paru, it also can have the meaning of in other words. Because you're saying something and then you're saying immediately what I mean by that is, and you say something that comes after it. So sometimes you'll see paru used in this way as well. But tuksun, therefore, is just a way of saying in other words. Or what it is like, that is to say, or if we're talking about something like that. So the way that it works is you have a word or something. Doesn't have to necessarily be a noun. It can be a phrase. Something here followed by a space and then tuksun. And the word itself can have a marker on it. Again, it could be a phrase or it could just be something that's at the start of a sentence. Whatever you want, space, tuksun. So let's see here. Okay, I'm going to wait for a second, then I'm going to tell you a trick. JJ Korean, nice. Jihoon Lee, tuksun, tuk is. Yes, tuksun is not used very often. Tuksun, tuk is used fairly often though. Okay, I'm just going to wait a second. Now I'm going to tell you a trick. If we say, if we see, or if we hear something, if we're talking about that, something, in other words, there's something in Korean already that kind of does this same thing that you're all familiar with. And that's the regular topic marker. So, we're going to be learning about another couple uses of tuksun soon. But for the basic use of tuksun, just replace it with a topic marker in your head if you ever get stuck. It's going to make sense because that's what tuksun does. It simply adds more emphasis than the regular topic marker. The topic marker can just introduce something, but it can also be used to add emphasis. But tuksun adds a lot more, like you're explaining something like, okay, not just I'm marking it, and let's talk about that further now. But if you want to replace it with the topic marker in your head, at least it'll help you to make sense of it. So let's do a few examples. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 sentences for this lesson, which is not very much compared to normal. I'll usually do 10, but these are long and they're advanced level, so 6 should be good enough. Okay. So long. I don't want to do it without a space. It has to have a space here. Do I have space? 거지. Okay, I apologize. It's kind of smashed together. I ran out of space at the end, but the board's small. Maybe I'll get a larger whiteboard in 2024. Maybe that can be one of my goals. Save up, get like a $300 really big whiteboard that just covers the entire background. Anyway, 이 식당은 이곳에서 장사를 한 지 20년이 넘었는데 그 말은 즉 무조건 맛집이라는 거지. So, 이 식당, this restaurant, 이곳에서, here in this place, 장사하다, to do business, to operate. 장사를 한 지 20년이 넘었는데, so it has been over 20 years since 한지, this place started operating in this place. So this place has been in business now here for over 20 years. 그 말은, so those words, as in what I'm saying is, in other words, 즉, that is to say, 무조건, 맛집이라는 거지. 무조건 is unconditionally, so certainly, or it has to be, 맛집, literally a flavor house. This is a really good restaurant. So 일하는 거지. So what I'm saying, 일하고 말하는 거지. So what I am saying is, it must be good. It must be a really good, famous place since it's been doing business here now for over 20 years. So if this place can survive 20 years, well, it must be a good restaurant. 이 식당은 이곳에서 장사를 한 지 20년이 넘었는데 그 말은 즉 무조건 맛집이라는 거지. This restaurant has been in business here for over 20 years. So, in other words, it must be good, is what we get. I'm going to leave this up for a minute. I want you to read this and think about it. But if you can't get the 즉 meaning, kind of replace it with the topic marker, at least what the topic marker does, like says, let's talk about this, that part of the topic marker. Kind of replace it like that. So like what I'm saying is all of this. So let's talk about that. What this means is 무조건 맛집이라는 거지. So what I'm saying is that it must be a good restaurant after taking all this into account. Again, in other words, or if we're talking about this, in other words will be another good way that you can translate it in your head, which will usually make sense. So what I'm saying is, in other words, it must be a good place. It must be a good restaurant. Ji-hoon Lee is using a different form, which we'll talk about in a second. And yeah, careful, Ji-hoon. That's one of the uses of this, but not all of them. That's what we're doing right now, though. There's another use, though, we're going to be talking about soon. CT, yes. The trick is to think of it as like the topic marker. Or if you're already familiar with 바로, you can think of it as 바로. Like 넘었는데 바로 무조건. That doesn't really fit, but it could work in some situations. But it has that meaning. 바로 also has that same meaning. Okay. All right. I'm going to give another sentence. Lexica. Hold on, Lexica. Let me write the sentence and then I can read your donation. Lexica. Okay, let me read your message first. In appreciation for all the knowledge you so freely and generously share with us, looking forward to another year of learning Korean in 2024. Thank you so much, Lexica. Yeah, it's dabbing time. All right, Lexica, got 20 dabs. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Ooh, gotta stretch my arms more. That should be one of my goals. Exercise. Probably won't last. My goal probably won't last though. Thank you so much. 정말 감사합니다. Adana says you could write it as so you're thinking about in addition to. Well, in that sentence, yes, but not in the next sentence. So it doesn't make any sense in the next sentence we're going to be doing. Or in the third sentence. So I would say no, I wouldn't think about it in addition to, because it could translate that way randomly by chance in some situations, but that's not what it's used for. It's used just to say, in other words. So like, let me state what I'm saying to add information to something that you've already said. Okay, so the next sentence. 백문이 불여일견, 즉 직접 해보는 게 중요하다는 말이에요. 백문이 불여일견 is a 한자 idiom. 백문, 100 times asking. 불여 is not like 일견, one time seeing. You could probably understand what this means if I just say that. But yeah, literally hearing 100 times is not the same as seeing it once. So seeing is believing is what we would say in English. 백문이 불여일견. 즉, that is to say, 직접 해보는 게 중요하다는 말이에요. That is to say that 직접, directly, by yourself, like actually, 해보다, to actually do it. Try it and do it yourself. 해보는 것이, so the act of actually trying it, 중요하다 is to be important. So, 말이에요. I am saying that it's important to actually try it yourself. 백문이 불여일견, 즉 직접 해보는 게 중요하다는 말이에요. So, they say seeing is believing, meaning that it's important to try it out for yourself. That's one way you can translate it. Or seeing is believing, that is to say, it's important to try it out for yourself. And you might also see this as 백문 불여일견 as one word, in case you've seen it that way before. This is just separating it out into more of a Korean style sentence. (100번) 듣는 것보다 직접 한 번 보는 게 좋다. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you can understand what that means when you hear it in Chinese. Yeah, that's a Chinese idiom, but in Korean, they use the same one as well. Okay, I'm going to leave this up for just a minute. Make sure we're okay on time. We got one more minute before I have to write the next one down. Okay, any questions while I leave this up? That's tasting weird now. It's like sour, but the sugar, I guess, was at the top of the drink. I didn't mix it very well. So it's like sour water now. Yeah. Billy, what's your MBTI? That I revealed in a video that I did with 한국어 한 조각, a piece of Korean, which was another YouTube channel. I did a video with them, actually done a few videos with them, as well as a couple more that are going to be coming out in a couple months. And we talked about MBTI in that video, so I'm going to say it's a secret unless you watch that video. Seeing is believing, but I got chocolate on my tablet. I don't think people say that. I don't think that's a common saying. Okay. You could say, I got chocolate on my tablet. That is to say, 즉, I won't be hungry today. Yeah, you could do that. Not how much practice, let's do learn. 늘지 않아요. I'm running out of space. This one also ends with the same ending. Yeah. And this will be our last sentence for using took in this way, because the remaining 2/3 of our lesson is going to be about the other use of tuksun that you all want to know, I'm sure. Okay. 아무리 오래 배웠어도 연습을 하지 않으면 실력이 늘지 않아요. 즉, 시간보다 노력이 중요하다는 말이에요. 아무리 something something 도. So 아무리 is like no matter how much you do something, and it always goes together with 도. So here it's 배우다, to learn. So however 오래, long time. So however long you've learned. The caffeine's making me speak quick. I have to slow down. No matter how long you've learned, 아무리 오래 배웠어도 practicing, 연습을 하지 않으면, if you do not practice, 실력이 늘다. Literally, your abilities improve. This is how you say get better at something. 실력이 늘다. 실력이 늘지 않아요. So you won't get better. No matter how long you've been learning, if you don't practice, you're not going to get better. It's a true statement. 즉, that is to say, so what I'm saying is, let me clarify. 시간보다, more than time, 노력, effort, putting in effort. 노력이 중요하다. So effort is more important than time. 하다는 말이에요. What I am saying is, 아무리 오래 배웠어도, so no matter how long you've been learning, 연습을 하지 않으면, if you don't practice, 실력이 늘지 않아요. You won't get better. 즉, that is to say that 시간보다 노력이 중요하다는 말이에요. So I'm saying that effort is more important than time. Generally true. If you're putting in a lot of effort into learning Korean, that's going to be more important than just how long you've been learning it for. But at the same time, there is a limit to what that is. So even if you're putting forth 24 hours a day of only learning Korean and you're just only doing Korean every single day, that still doesn't mean you're going to get fluent in a few months. It's still going to take a long time because there's some things that just take time for your brain to grasp. Armin, Kaya, NOK, hold on. That's like $5. I always have to convert it. I wish YouTube would convert it for me. Let me give you 5 dabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you, Armin. Kim says, in New Year, my goal is learning Korean. Nice. CJ says, I thought the 도 doesn't get used with the past tense. Nope. No, you can use the past tense. It's even if you did now. Even if you studied. You could say 아무리 오래 배워도, no matter how long you learn, but in this case it's no matter how long you have learned. 아무리 오래 배웠어도 연습을 하지 않으면 실력이 늘지 않아요. 즉, 시간보다 노력이 중요하다는 말이에요. No matter how long you've learned, if you don't practice, you won't get better. That is to say that effort is more important than time. Okay. So that's the fun usage of took. If you all want a practical way of using took, that's it. That's how you do it. You also might have noticed something. Where was tuksun? Yeah. As I mentioned in the beginning, tuksun sounds stronger than took, so it has more emphasis. You're rarely going to see it. But you might see tuksun as well. It'll just sound a bit more old-fashioned. And all of these sentences that I gave you are more common that you'll see them in writing. So I'm just giving you kind of a summary. I already explained this, but just for final notes for this form. It's going to be more common in writing. You're not going to hear your friends say this ever. You're not going to hear people even say it. In formal situations, you might hear it, but it's still most commonly used in writing. But in writing, you definitely will see tuk. You're going to see it. It's commonly used in like formal or just sort of written form. You want to sound smart. You want to sound clear. You're going to use tuk. Okay. There's another form. There are actually two more forms of tuksun that we have to learn. Okay. Noun plus in tuksun. And then optionally, tuksun or just in tuk. I got a donation. Hold on. Pause for a second. Jilly. Jilly, is your name Jilly? Could be like Jillian, I guess. I'm trying to think what the regular name would be. Jilly. I've never heard that before in my life. It's unique. Thank you. Let me give you 5 dabs, Jilly, for your $5 donation. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on. Well, I have to take a break. I'm gonna switch arms so I don't injure this arm for the 5th dab. Okay. Jillian. Okay, I was guessing Jillian. I actually know a Korean teacher, Jillian. You can find her on Instagram. We've done a couple collaboration videos as well before. She's pretty cool. So that's what the name made me think about first. That also is not super common of a name though, so I wasn't sure. Cool. So, yes, okay. So, in tuksun. What is this? Well, it's the same form, kind of. This is just another usage of what we already learned, tuksun. However, now you can use it with a noun. So if you're using it directly after a noun, instead of using it just after like a word or a phrase with the topic marker, you can also use it like this. So you take a noun, you add a space, and then in tuksun. Oh, sorry, scratch that. You don't put a space. Yes, when you use this with a noun, you actually don't add any spaces. So the noun in tuk or noun in tuksun becomes one word. And with some nouns, it can look kind of funny. It looks really long and smashed together, but that's what they do. So yeah, what is this? The in comes from ida, conjugated into a present tense adjective as in. So ida is to be. So tuksun, that is the noun. So it's just a way of connecting the noun with tuksun directly. Now, this form is not commonly used. Tuk, which we just finished learning about, tuk and tuksun, that is pretty commonly used. When you say something and you want to say, in other words, or what I'm saying is, if we're talking about this and you say more information, this one is less common. This one sounds archaic. If you're not familiar with the word archaic, old-fashioned. It sounds old-fashioned. And you might see this form, though, in older books. So even though it's more archaic, you're still going to see it from time to time. If you're looking at any materials that are, a couple decades old or more, you're going to see it. Now, even though this form in general is archaic and old-fashioned, there are some situations where you might find it used in modern writing. Actually, I think it's with, yeah. A common way that you're going to see this used even today in writing is with this word, 말. So the words, 그 말, 그 말인 즉슨, which is just like we had before, 그 말은 즉슨. So what I'm saying is, that is to say, we had that in our example, but now we can use it as one single word, 그 말인 즉슨. So what does this mean? Well, this is the same thing again, but now it's with a noun. So you can actually just replace this one directly with the topic marker. Since it's being used directly after the noun, it's okay to directly replace this one in your head with the topic marker. So 그 말인 즉슨 or 그 말인 즉 is the same meaning and same usage as 그 말은. The only difference is that 즉슨 adds more emphasis. Like, hey, let's talk about this now. If we're talking about noun, or this noun, in other words, it's the exact same function of the topic marker, but just this has more emphasis. So if you ever see in 즉슨, just replace it with the topic marker in every single situation. It'll make sense. It'll be perfect. So that's my other trick to you. Okay. But let me give you a couple examples. Oh yeah, so again, 그 말인 즉슨 is an expression you're going to see. So in fact, I would just write that down, even though I erased it. But I'll give you an example sentence that has it. But yeah, 말인 즉슨, 그 말인 즉슨, you'll see it. Because it sounds a little fancy, people picked out a few words specifically that they'll use with this, and then they don't use the form for anything else. I don't have space here. I don't have space. These are the only times where I wish I had a bigger whiteboard, is when I do the advanced lessons, because the sentences are always longer. I never really care too much with the beginner lessons because the sentences are so short. Okay, 그 말인 즉슨. So, 그 말은, what I'm saying is literally those words that I just said that you are now processing, those words mean, what I'm saying is 이곳이 다른 지역보다 안전하다는 것이다. So, this place is 다른 지역, other regions, other areas, 보다, more than, 안전하다, safe. So, what I'm saying is, I'm saying this place is safer than other places. So what this means is that this place is safer than other areas. 그 말인 즉슨 이곳이 다른 지역보다 안전하다는 것이다. Yeah. So that's all you really need to know about it. If you see 인 즉슨, replace it with the topic marker and you're going to be good. If you see 즉슨, you can also replace it with the topic marker, but know that it might not grammatically fit, because you can't put the topic marker when you already have a topic marker, but it still kind of does the same function. Like the other examples we had. Just replace it with the topic marker or replace it with, in other words, and you're going to be fine. Okay, one more sentence. Sorry, I don't know if that was enough time to write it down. I'll give you a little more time to write down the next one. Okay, this time we have another word. And again, this sort of usage is old-fashioned and not that common, but you will still see it. 인 즉슨. You will still see this from time to time. Next we have 이유인